Oh, BB Nate, it's finally over.
Wait, the lockdown ended, right?
No way. What are you, crazy?
Yeah,
of course not.
It's never going to end, Nate. What are you talking about, though, Dad?
Oh, we've got some real Star Wars news to talk about.
There's a Boba Fett trailer now?
I'm so confused.
Yeah, me too. I guess we'll try to regroup after these ads specifically chosen for you for really absolutely no good reason. This is Tatooine Sons.
It's true. All of it.
What is the name of the Porg on the Millennium Falcon?
Force is strong in my family.
What do you think his name is? It's a big moment.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Maybe Turbis?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Turbis? Pablo, if you're listening to this live stream, that Porg's name is now Turbis. It's a good Star Wars name.
We're not done yet.
These guys recorded an awesome podcast called Tatooine Sons. Everybody was lit.
I don't remember. I mean, I think I may have mentioned, I don't know, at some point. But I don't know if we can get Mom to sit through 3 of those movies and then go to the movie theater and watch the new Godzilla car.
Yeah, I don't think
that's
we
true.
could do that.
So, all
It
right,
might
well,
just have to be a guy thing.
yeah, well, anyway, welcome to Tatooine Sons, a pop culture podcast. We believe that pop culture is the mythology of this generation, that there is a story. It's written on our souls. And these myths, even maybe Godzilla and Kong, speak to that story.
To a lesser extent, probably.
Maybe a little bit.
But
I don't know. I was reading Job today, and it's talking about Leviathan. So
That's true.
Yeah, so that's why we talk about Star Wars, Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, and a bunch of other things. It rhymed. Didn't know that. I'm David. I'm the dad. I'm joined by a couple of really awesome sons. Let's start with Sam this week. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
You should be doing well. So, yeah. So, and BB Nate, how's it going for you?
Fine. I'm happy to be doing this again.
Happy to be here.
Oh, just happy to be here.
So happy.
Thanks for listening to the show, guys. We really appreciate you doing that. Big shout out to all of our listeners in France and Canada and Australia and even Japan.
We have listeners in those countries now?
Apparently we do, because we are trending in the top 100.
We're like internationally famous or something.
Nobody in the U.S. is listening to us, but no, that's not true. I mean, it's just, but anyway.
There's more content in the U.S.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're like, I think we got up to like 240 in the U.S. But still, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's
so
awesome.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
listening. That makes it a lot of fun.
It's kind of cool.
Sam, you're back.
I am.
Yeah, how was your trip to Babalama?
It was good, busy. I was tired when I came back, but it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
So on last week's show, we'd explained that you're going to fly out there and sort of crash the prom festivities with your girlfriend, even though she's 19 and out of high school, and you're obviously 19 and out of high school. But that didn't go as planned.
No. So I'll try and give a brief story. We get there, we get all dressed up, we take the pictures, we do the dinner, and then we were going with the group to where the prom was going to be, but we were going to just kind of hang out in the lobby. It was at a hotel or whatever, and grab some coffee and stuff. And then I figured, we're here, let's just see if we can get in. So Savannah goes to the vice principal, which she knows. She knows like everybody who knows everybody in Alabama, I swear, especially her high school. So she goes to the vice principal, asks, hey, is there any chance we can get in? He's like, I don't know, maybe go ask this person. So we asked that person, they're like, I don't know, ask this person. And that person's like, I don't know, you're probably going to want to ask this person. And we got passed around 4 different times. Eventually this lady's like, okay, let me go check. She goes back, asks somebody something, comes back, and it's like, yep, y'all are all good, you can just walk in. And we're like, well, how much do we owe you? And she's like, well, it's $60. I'm like, well, I mean, is there an ATM nearby? She's like, no, y'all just bring the money to school on Monday.
Wow.
It'll be fine. Y'all just go have fun. So we literally just walked in.
So the homeschooler that's already graduated from high school got to go to his first prom.
Yeah, it was fun. And then
That's
we hung out.
Congratulations.
Stayed up till like 2:00 with the guys playing Guitar Hero and
That's
stuff.
fun.
That's pretty cool.
We went to bed at a solid 11 o'clock, so we're good.
Awesome. Well, BB Nate,
Yeah.
you got to join Michael and Ricky over at Something About Something on Wednesday
true.
night. That was a lot of fun. You guys what'd you talk about?
We talked about the Snyder Cut, of course, because there's nothing else to talk about. It was a lot of fun. When we were off the podcast and off the stream, we were talking with each other, and we were like, let's try to keep this at an hour. And then they both laughed because they're like, that's not going to happen.
No way
we went
on earth.
We went like 35 minutes over. And then more afterwards, but it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed talking about it, and I enjoyed seeing the comments and addressing some of the opinions and points that people have made. And I hope that people learned more about my obsession.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was fun. I was watching it, and Mom came in the room and was watching for about 20 minutes, and she just looked at me, or she was in the room while I was watching it. She was hearing it, and she's like, I have no idea what they're talking about. So I'm like, but it was good. You did a good job.
Thank you.
Nate.
I had a lot of fun.
You've come a long ways in 4 years when you were like afraid to make a position on anything when he would share. You remember that?
Yeah.
And his response, even some of our listeners would joke. They would say, it was interesting. It's interesting. You really did a good job. You're going to be on something tonight. You're going to be over with the Reverend and the Reprobate.
Back with them again.
Talking a little Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Are you going to be doing every other episode with them?
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, they've kind of given him an open invitation. So
I might hop on next week. You never know.
Never know. All right. Well, why don't we do that? Why don't we talk a little bit about the Falcon and Winter Soldier, Sam?
Yeah, so we're halfway through the series now, and it looks like all the players are on the field. We got Zemo and all that.
Was that a sports reference?
Yes, I know. Y'all should be very proud of me. Zemo's working with Sam and Bucky, and there's some mind games going on there. Sharon is back, but she's very different than when we last saw her.
I have a theory.
Did you steal my theory?
I don't think so.
And John is shaping up to be the Cap we all thought he would be. That's all coming up next.
Be on your guard. There are older and fouler things than orcs in the deep places of the world.
All right, then, keep your secrets.
You're coming to us. Is as the footsteps of doom.
There are many magic rings in this world, Bilbo Baggins, and none of them should be used lightly.
Yeah, and like Zemo is all talking about how good of an album it was and stuff.
They're all
It is. I mean, he's right. Marvin Gaye is fantastic.
You don't expect a supervillain though to have a good music taste.
Yeah. All right. So,
But yeah, speaking of Zemo, we finally got to see more of him in this episode. Last time we saw him was in Civil War, and we learned that his family was royalty.
he's a rich dude
on Sokovia. That's how he got the term Baron.
Yeah,
which
he is literally a baron.
right, which is the first time we've heard him called Baron Zemo in.
I thought that was his first name, like Baron Trump.
Me too.
Yeah, I forgot what his first name was. Apparently, it's Helmet.
Helmet Zemo.
And not helmet like the thing on your head.
No, it's
like,
HELMUT.
Yeah,
Helmut.
But we finally see Baron Zemo with the cool mask and everything. This episode.
Were you surprised by his character?
Yeah.
It kind of sorry, go ahead, Nate.
I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed his character. I loved his character, and I really do want to see more. And I won't say too much, but I really loved his character.
I mean, Marvel has a thing for making you like the villains, like Loki and stuff. I don't know how they do it, but you're like, this guy's horrible. I like him.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting to think that the good guy in this series, John Walker, is the one everybody hates, and this bad guy, Baron Zemo, are the people that is the one people are like, I like that guy.
They're showing how there's these gray areas in things in this series. Yeah. But he's working with Sam and Bucky right now, and it's an uneasy alliance to put things lightly. And we saw that Zemo's still trying to get in Bucky's head. Like he was in Civil War. I mean, the first thing he does when he sees him is he starts reciting those words from Civil War.
Were you scared for a second that it was about to trigger him?
No, but
I was.
Really?
He's a different person now, and they've been establishing that for the past 2 episodes.
Yeah, but that would have been like a real twist if he all of a sudden
true.
flips back to Winter Soldier in that.
Yeah.
Because it is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, not the Falcon and the White Wolf.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. And then later on, Zemo finds Bucky's list of names, and he starts mentioning that, and that gets a reaction from Bucky. The whole words thing, he's like, oh yeah, that's not a problem anymore. But this list of people he's wronged as the Winter Soldier pissed him off, and now I think Zemo knows that, and he's gonna be able to use that to his advantage. But it was kind of cool though that he was using Steve's book from when he was out of the ice.
Like we were talking about with the Marvin Gaye stuff, and Sam was teasing him about it and all.
He's like, I like Marvin Gaye, I just like 40s music more.
What do you think about Baron Zemo's his commentary on the plight of the African American man? And Sam's
you're
like,
out of line.
You're out of line, but you're absolutely right. That was
a fun discussion.
It was fun for them to poke fun at that kind of stuff. I think that we've gotten so sensitive about racial things that it creates challenges where we aren't able to actually just sort of have conversations about it, and that was something
they've brought that up a bit in the series a few times, but they've handled it very well in my opinion. I mean, I'm a white dude, so it's
I understand,
but you know where I'm coming from. But that was a fun discussion there. And then later on, we see, we've known that Zemo was a brilliant guy from the beginning. I mean, he got the Avengers to turn against themselves.
That's impressive.
But that's one thing. It's also cool to see that he can hold his own when he needs to in a fight. I mean, he was kicking butt there at the end.
Yeah.
So this guy's a formidable villain, which I think it's good that they're setting that up because he's a classic villain in the comics.
He really is a big deal in the comics,
Absolutely.
from what I understand.
I think they're bringing him in to the story more.
That'll be good.
Dad, do you think we could see Zemo turn on Sam and Bucky later? Is that almost inevitable?
Oh, you stole my line. I was going to say it again this week. I said it last week. It was inevitable, and you guys did the whole Thanos thing, and I was ready to bring that in again. I am inevitable. So absolutely, he's
okay.
From the moment that Bucky was trying to convince Sam to break Baron Zemo out, even though it had already happened. I was like, this isn't going to end well. Mm-hmm. And Baron Zemo's a bad guy, and we're going to see him act like a bad guy. The interesting part about it, though, is he is really opposed to Flag Smashers and their being super soldiers. He hates super soldiers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's not going to side with Flag. And I guess I hadn't gathered that was what was going on in Civil War. Had you? That he was opposed to super soldiers?
Yeah, he was opposed to... Sorry, go ahead, Nate.
He had that whole Hydra thing. He had the whole distraction. He had everything set up with the Avengers so he could get in and kill all of those Winter Soldiers that were in cryo sleep.
Right.
So
I think it stems from supers in general because of Sokovia. Then none of that would have happened. His family would still be alive if it weren't for the Avengers.
Right.
Not necessarily just super soldiers in general.
Okay.
Do you think he's going to turn, but do you think that he will somehow find a way to turn Bucky again and use that?
I would have thought that had he not already tried to use the code words, and that didn't work.
Okay.
I think that's good because then that sort of takes that off the table at this point.
So we're not all wondering about it.
If he hadn't used that at some point, it'd be the Mephisto of this series. We'd be constantly wondering when he was going to just all of a sudden start quoting those things and trigger the Winter Soldier kick in.
Okay.
With that.
Nate, remember at the end of this episode, there was that Wakandan AO who was looking for Zemo. Presumably to make him pay for his crime, the one where he killed their king or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, do you think that Bucky will turn in Zemo, or do you think he's going to protect him because they still need Zemo right now?
Third option. I think he's going to. He has good relations with the Wakandans.
Okay.
He was protected by them. He protected them. He will be reasoning with them and giving him why they still need him. I think that AO will join them on their quest, and won't agree with Baron at all on anything, but she understands his importance. So I don't think that she will do anything.
Okay, she'll be like, as soon as you're done with him, hand him over to me, basically.
Yes.
Okay, I think that's reasonable. And then Sharon was back.
Yeah.
That
I have
was
a theory.
that. Oh, okay. Well, do you want to share that?
No,
right now?
no.
All right.
I'll share it in a minute.
She's very different than when we last saw her in Civil War. I mean, like, I almost didn't like her, gonna be honest with you. Apparently, ever since Civil War, though, she's been on the run. You know, she was labeled a criminal like everybody else. But she had to go to this island, Madripoor, because they don't really have extradition laws there. It's like free reign, like it's lawless. So she ended up having to go there because she's like wanted in the States.
I kept expecting Ronin to show up.
It might be.
I don't think it is, but it felt like it.
Mm-hmm. Interesting little Easter egg. Madripoor actually has a lot of connections to X-Men in the comics. In fact, we saw a bar that Wolverine owns.
And did you know that there was a circle with an X symbol that looks like Professor X's symbol?
I didn't see that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so lots of X-Men connections there. Maybe they're trying to tease us even more with that, because that wouldn't be the first time they've teased X-Men in this series.
It's because Henry Cable's coming in as
Wolverine. You know, I wouldn't hate it, actually.
That was the big April Fool's joke on all the DC
It's
groups.
got merit to it, though. Yeah. But ever since Civil War, Sharon's been making a name for herself on this island, you know, dealing in the black market and being all around shady. But all that dealing in the underworld and, you know, being forsaken by her country has made her just a little bit jaded. Ultimately, she... What?
What's your theory?
No, I'm gonna state it
Okay.
later.
I'll let you go first. Okay.
Do y'all want to?
No.
Y'all are chomping at the bit to get this theory out.
No, anyway.
She ultimately, albeit reluctantly, agrees to help Sam and Bucky, and by extension Zemo, but she's not happy about it. She helps them find this doctor that's been creating this new super soldier serum, which is, it was interesting that he derived the serum from this Isaiah Bradley character we learned.
We already knew that he was being tested,
so that's cool.
You know that's like drawn out of actual historical fact. The idea of them testing
on African
American men and things like that. It's horrible. It's a horrible thing that happened.
Absolutely, yeah. No, this isn't like just something they came up with in the comics.
It's how comics sort of tie into real life, and they magnify things within it.
Yeah. So they find this doctor. They are interrogating him, and while they're talking to him, Sharon's out there basically single-handedly taking down a small army.
That was an awesome scene.
That was a really awesome scene. And then after an explosive run-in with some bounty hunters, they go their separate ways, and Sharon goes to her secretary or something and says, we've got a big problem, 2 big problems. Nate, are these problems she's referring to Sam and Bucky? And if so, why are they a problem for her?
I do think that they're Sam and Bucky and Zemo. Okay. I think that why they're a problem is because she's working for the power broker.
Ooh.
It would make sense because it would work for a secretary, kind of a go-between.
Yeah.
She has deep connections. We know that. She said it. She has a lot of money, and we know that. And nobody is messing with her around the area. Nobody is messing with her.
That's true.
And so I think she's working for the power broker, and I think that they're a problem because they're looking for the power broker. So, yeah.
In the immortal words of Dave Filoni. Interesting.
Was that your theory?
Interesting. No, that's not my
really?
theory.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Well, you can probably bridge to your theory from this.
Yeah, I see my question coming, so.
Do you think we're going to see more of Sharon in this series? And if so, what role is she going to play?
We will most definitely see more of Sharon.
Well, we thought we were going to see more of Cobb Vanth in Mandalorian, but we didn't end up getting that. So
we will most definitely see more of Sharon in this because Sharon's not working for the power broker. She is the power broker.
Plot
this
twist.
Is the big twist. She's in the back seat being chauffeured. She's jaded. She's bitter. She's got a history with super soldiers.
She doesn't like heroes anymore. She said that.
Yeah. And she's, I think she's the power broker. I think that's the
That
twist.
would be
so
interesting.
why she doesn't want to leave Madripoor.
Yeah.
Because she's built up her stuff. She's
empire.
Yeah, she's playing around with it. You know, she's trying to figure out. I think that we're going to see some really fun stuff with Sharon.
I like that. So she's almost a bad guy now.
So either our theories are she works for the power broker or she is the power broker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I did not come up with either of those ideas. I didn't come up with any theories, so I'm glad y'all are taking that part of the discussion.
Here's where it's a problem, though, is she does direct them to the lab.
And those people are attacking her. Do you think that they would attack her even if...
Who knows who they are, though? We
Yeah.
don't know. We make an assumption that they're with the power broker.
That's true.
But,
They were just bounty
even in
hunters,
your
really.
theory, it doesn't work. So anyway, yeah. All right.
Cool.
We've got two characters, so...
Yeah, and then we've gotten more of Carly Morgenthau.
Little
Not
bit.
much, but enough. I'll admit, up until the end of that last episode, they were really setting up Carly to be almost like relatable. Like I almost sympathized with her. I mean, we saw her comforting someone on their deathbed. I don't think we quite know who that is. But that person was clearly important to Carly. And then we see her and the Flag Smashers like stealing supplies from a GRC site that's just literally sitting there in storage. They had like 6 months of stuff and they weren't distributing it. And then, you know, she's just trying to, her and her group are really just trying to make lives better for people in these GRC camps, which, you know, on the surface is a noble cause. But then she blows up a GRC site with a bunch of innocent people in it and kind of just to send a message, and that kind of re-solidifies herself as the bad guy.
Yeah.
Dad, do you think we could see Carly turn herself around and maybe become good, air quotes, by the end of the series? Or did this episode really just solidify her in this role of bad guy?
The point of this series is that abilities and strength don't make you good. And motivations don't make you good. You have to choose to be good.
Yep.
And so we talked about that with John Walker. We're going to see the same thing happens with
Carly.
With Carly. Yeah, she's got good motivations, right? And now she's got these superpowers, and those two things combined have turned her bad.
I agree. I think this whole series is talking about how powers don't make you who you are.
And good motives.
Yeah. I mean, it's just going back to the first Avenger, Captain America, the first Avenger. It's like, don't let this change who you are inside. That's why they picked Steve.
And that's why Steve chose Sam.
Right. Nate, we learned that the Flag Smashers are in possession of 20 vials of super soldier serum. Obviously, they've used some. But do you think they have a plan for the rest of them? And if so, what could that be?
I'm not sure. I mean, maybe they'll pull a Scarecrow from Batman Begins and put it in the water supply and let people have a revolt and
Interesting.
rise up against the leaders or something. But I don't know what they could use it for. Maybe they're just keeping a reserve in case the stuff they have now wears off for some reason.
Maybe they've already used it.
Well, no, we know that they didn't use all of them.
We know that there are 8 superpowered people that we've encountered.
At the end, she says, we know the power broker knows that we have the
that's
last
true.
of the vials.
Okay.
So
All right. And then we saw significantly less of John Walker in this episode. But what we did see is really setting him up to be the John Walker we all know and don't really love from the comics. We see him raiding a compound looking for any leads on the Flag Smashers, but they just don't get anywhere. During a particularly unhelpful interrogation with one of the members, John gets pissed and throws the guy up against the wall and asks him if he know who he is, John. To which the man responds, "Yes, I do, and I don't care."
Yeah, neither do we.
And then he spits in John's face.
Yikes.
Yeah, that does not make John happy. And then later on, we see Walker and Hoskins deciding to go a bit off the book to try and find Sam and Bucky.
Yep.
Looks like they're really beginning to set up John to be this U.S. agent from the comics. Do you think our theories are going to come true, or do you think they're actually going to end up going a different direction with this character than what we're expecting, Nate?
I think that they're going to be going. I think if any character is going to be going off from what we expect from the comics, I do think it'll be Zemo. From what I'm seeing with Zemo, it's very off and strange. I think that he just wants to get rid of super soldiers and not be a bad guy. I said to Dad, I think he's an anti-hero, not necessarily a bad guy.
So what's that got to do with John Walker?
Right.
I'm just saying that that's going to be the only character. I think John will be the bad guy of this series. I think he'll be the one that revolts against Sam and Bucky. I think he'll be the one that turns against the whole government. And I think that he'll work with Carly at some point.
Yeah, I did like that whole, like, don't you know who I am? It just goes to show what Cap did differently. It wasn't the suit. It wasn't the shield. It was the respect people had for him and his symbol. So I think it's interesting we're seeing that side of things.
Yeah, I think he's a bad guy.
Yeah. So there are only 3 episodes left in The Falcon and Winter Soldier, and there's still a lot that needs to happen, but it's shaping up to be a pretty thrilling ride. Be sure to tune in next Friday on Disney+. Dad, what have you got for us this week? It's not like we got any like new trailers or anything for Star Wars.
We finally got some big Star Wars news to discuss, including Omega Palpatine.
That's the theory, by the way.
Yeah, that's all coming up after these ads, personally chosen for you because you borrowed your cousin's HBO Max login information to watch the Snyder Cut, and now it's time to pay up. This is Tatooine Sons.
Hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
Rebellions are built on hope.
Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
If you live long enough, you see the same eyes in different people.
I didn't know this existed. I just knew about the new one they talked
Yeah,
about.
it was like a 1980s.
Did you watch it?
I remember seeing something about it. I'm watching probably a little bit of it, but yeah.
Fun.
But we're going to talk about different animation today.
Yeah.
We've finally got a real Bad Batch trailer, not just some images and music and that type of stuff. We got some like insight into the story. We've got enough in the trailer that it's actually worth listening to, not just watching. So we're going to listen to it here.
A test is in order. 5 enhanced clones, more capable than an army. Yet they exhibit a concerning level of disobedience and disregard for orders.
What else you got? Give me more!
Our squad's nothing but trouble. But we get the job done.
You'll climb Force 99.
You know who we are.
Hunter.
Let's go.
Echo.
Hyperdrive's online.
Tick.
Prepping to jump.
Rickon.
Let's blow something up!
And Crosshair.
Your move.
We're all you need.
I want Clone Force 99 found and wiped out.
The galaxy's a dangerous place to be.
We need to get out of here. What do you say, kid? You want to come with us?
How can I help?
The Clone Wars have ended. You can either adapt and survive, or die with the past. The decision is yours. We do what we do. Strap in, kid.
Wow.
Is this just The Mandalorian, but with a bigger group of people and animated?
So in other words, not at all like The Mandalorian?
No, I mean, we have a kid. They're taking him around the galaxy. They dishonored their own group of people, which is the clones. I mean, we have Fennec Shand in this as well.
I'm not seeing it, but okay.
BB Nate has a unique perspective, that's for sure. We do get to see Hunter and Echo and Tech and Wrecker and Crosshair, and then a very unimpressed Grand Moff Tarkin, who will be portrayed by the incomparable Stephen Stanton, which is very exciting because he's he's
the coolest,
pretty amazing as a voice actor.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have this, and he's going to have Monsters at Work.
And
it's
he's
coming out.
2 characters at Monsters at Work.
Yeah, so that's going to be a lot of fun. But the fun in the Bad Batch trailer is who else we see alongside the clones. Of course, we've got a lot more of Ming-Na Wen's Fennec Shand. I'm not sure really any of us saw Saw Gerrera coming.
Or Rex.
Playing in this. Yeah, Rex. He's actually being played not by Forrest Whitaker, who played him in Rebels and in, of course, Rogue One. He's being played by Andrew Kashino, who is going to be reprising his role from the Clone Wars.
Very cool. That fits better, I think.
That bridge period there. And then what about this unnamed Camino child that seems to be joining the Bad Batch in a very Baby Yoda-like tag-along? They're going back to your Mandalorian thing. Sam, what's your favorite moment in the trailer?
Oh, man. I talked about this from the beginning of seeing these characters. I mean, all the way back from Star Wars Celebration. I loved seeing them work together as a team and their cool team tactics and them being all specialized and stuff. One of my favorite things, I have always liked the character of Crosshairs in the group. So like the one scene in the trailer when he like shoots the knife into like the droid or whatever. Yeah. That was pretty cool. That got me. I was like, all right. But yeah, I'm just really excited to see that whole team aspect of it.
Awesome. BB Nate, which character are you most curious about?
Most people are going to be like the kid, but no, I'm actually curious about Echo.
I thought you were there.
I'm really excited to see more of Echo. I loved that whole arc in season 7. I thought it was fantastic. I felt for Echo. I enjoyed how he went to Clone Force 99, and I'm really excited to see his new direction. And just his helmet looks so cool.
Yeah, he does look cool. He's like fully integrated into it now.
It's really cool.
What is going on with the kid, though? We know his name is Omega. I joked about it, but who do you think this Omega is? He's got to be a clone
or something.
He's in Camino. They're going to Camino, and they get this kid who's a clone. Here's the thing. Well, we assume is a clone. He's not a Caminoan. Mm-hmm. We know that. He doesn't
long neck.
Yeah. Sam, he's not a clone of Jango Fett. He doesn't look like the clones.
He looks different.
Or Boba Fett as a kid. He's got different facial features, lighter skin, and blonde hair. Who's being cloned there that we don't know about?
Everybody's thinking it. Everybody it's like the elephant in the room. It's Sheev's clone.
Yeah, did you see the pictures where they were comparing the pictures with him and younger Senator Palpatine in The Phantom Menace? The hair being the way it's patterned backwards, and then nice wavy in the back. The nice clothing. He's got the accent that matches the British sort of feel accent. And why is it that Padme doesn't have the accent when she's from Naboo, but the senator from Naboo has? Anyway,
maybe his parents aren't from Naboo.
Yeah. Anyway, do you think they're going to go there?
I hope so. I think that'll help. That whole scene in Rise of Skywalker have more impact.
So this is Rey's daddy. If that's the case,
I like that idea.
That's such a like cliche joke with Star Wars that I don't know if they could go there. Do you think it's going to happen?
I think it is. I don't know who else it would be. Maybe it's a field trip. Maybe it's a school field trip to Camino, and that's why he's there.
And he got separated from the rest of his class.
And he's like,
okay, let's go on a mission with these rebel
and space bows and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dude, that's very Night Sister-esque.
Yeah, a little bit. But I mean,
that bow. Yeah,
but they could have that in other areas of the galaxy. You know.
It's pretty cool. You can check out a link and watch the trailer yourself and all that on TatooineSons.com. I'll put a link in the show notes. So we've got some other links that are going to come up here because we got a Kenobi cast announcement.
Heck yeah.
Hello there. That was pretty good.
That was decent.
That was reasonable. It's taken longer than anyone ever imagined. But the Obi-Wan Kenobi series begins shooting in April this month.
Hey,
it's going to start. Long enough. And to add a cherry on top of it, Lucasfilm announced the cast this week.
Yay.
So of course we have our the incomparable. I use that word twice now.
Incomparable.
I've used it twice.
Wow.
So does that mean if I've got two incomparable people that they're comparable?
Yes.
It's got to be your bowl. Okay. Ewan McGregor returns to the role of Obi-Wan Kenobi, of course. And then we have Hayden Christensen joining as Darth Vader. We all knew that was happening. The rest of this cast is what makes it fun. Returning Star Wars cast members include Joel Egerton and Bonnie Piesse, who played the young Owen and Beru Lars in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. That's pretty exciting stuff.
You talked about wanting to see Kenobi and Owen talk.
Yeah, I want to know what that bad blood is. I think we're going to see that. Newly announced cast members include Moses Ingram from The Queen's Gambit, Kamali Nanjiani from The Big Sick, Indira Varma from Game of Thrones, Rupert Friend from Homeland, O'Shea Jackson Jr. from Den of Thieves, Sung Kang from The Fast and the Furious, Simone Kessel of Kings and Prophets, and Benny Safdie from Pieces of a Woman. Now, here's where it gets kind of curious. I mean, that's all stuff, right?
I didn't know a single one of those people.
Yeah, exactly. Because those aren't shows that we really watch. Although I'm curious about Queen's Gambit. But anyway, Moses Ingram from Queen's Gambit shared her excitement for the news being cast in the series and actually being able to talk about it for the first time. She posted on Instagram, and it was just a picture of herself. But underneath with the caption, it says, "I play with lightsabers." BB Nate, we've speculated that the only way to bring Darth Vader into this series is to show him hunting down Jedi, as Kenobi attempts in vain to rebuild the Jedi Order on Tatooine. Does Moses Ingram's tease about lightsabers hint that this could be happening?
I think she's an Inquisitor.
Ooh.
One of the sisters. It would make sense. I feel like it would fit. Ooh. I think that would work.
Seventh sister?
Not seven.
Not the seventh, just a sister. I don't know how many sisters there have been.
Yeah. Well, didn't the second sister, is that it? Who was the first sister we saw? The one that was played by Sarah Michelle Gellar?
Seventh.
I thought it was the seventh sister.
It is.
Yeah.
It is the seventh.
Wouldn't that be cool to see a live action seventh sister?
That would.
Yeah.
But I don't think it will be. I think it'd just be not too.
I want to see that lightsaber that does the propeller stuff.
Yeah, in live action.
Yeah, helicopter. Helicopter lightsabers.
That's all I'm asking for. I'll die happy with that.
That and Ewan saying hello.
What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think Nathan's onto something. And it was funny. I was with Savannah and I mentioned this to her. And I didn't come up with this idea. I was like, yeah, maybe a Jedi, but that feels weird. She's like, or it could be someone hunting the Jedi. I'm like, that's a good point. And so I'm subscribing to the Inquisitor idea.
Yeah. Sam, are you supposed that we're actually going to get my wish of seeing Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru in Kenobi? And what does this mean? Is it our destiny to get a young Luke Skywalker?
Yeah, I think we're going to see that bad blood between Owen and Kenobi. I think it's going to be a major plot point. Obi-Wan's there to protect Luke. That's why he's on Tatooine. So he's going to have a run-in with Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. And so I think in turn that means we're going to see a young Luke. Who that'll be played by, I'm not sure. If it'll have much of a role. I don't think it'll be much of a role. We'll just see him every so often, just running around being a kid. The real focus is going to be on Owen and Kenobi, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Well, after what seems to have been longer than Boba Fett was in the Sarlacc pit, it's so great to be getting some positive Star Wars news to discuss. So don't forget that all of that old Star Wars content dropped on what are they calling it? They did
the Star Wars Vintage Collection.
Yeah, they announced that today as it posted. That's what it was listed at. But it's on Disney Plus. It includes what's the Boba Fett cartoon?
It's Wookiee something.
Oh, Brave Wookiee, I think.
I don't know. Faithful Wookiee.
The Faithful Wookiee. Yeah, that's it. The Faithful Wookiee. That's basically the Boba Fett cartoon.
Yeah,
right.
From the Hollywood special. We got the Ewoks movies. We should watch an Ewok movie. And then of course we've got Tartakovsky's Clone
and the animated Ewok show.
And the Ewok stuff. Yeah, all that. So very cool. Nate, what do you want to talk about?
Well, we just can't keep talking about the live action side of DC.
They keep giving us stuff to talk about.
That's also true. Because there are some fantastic animated movies as well. Spanning from 2008 to now, DC has been the place to go to watch some of the greatest animated superhero movies of all time. We'll be talking about those and more coming up.
Yeah, and that's all coming after these ads personally chosen for you, because you haven't left your home all week, and even the internet is starting to get worried. This is Tatooine Sons.
Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Yeah, I can fly.
I'm here to fight for truth and justice in the American way.
The people in this room, which one is A, wearing a spangly outfit, and B, not of use?
There's only one God, man. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that.
Batman has no limits.
Okay, so it's basically, there's rumors that the Batman movie will be set in Earth 2, which is kind of Earth Prime as well. So for Crash Course Earth Prime, if Earth Prime is destroyed, every other Earth is destroyed with it.
So how is Earth Prime Earth 2?
Because there's other Earths. I don't know why it's called Earth 2 instead of Earth 1. I never
Maybe
really
Earth 1 was like a prototype and it didn't end up working.
I don't remember what it all is. I think Earth 1 is the anti-monitors and monitors.
All right, I'm totally
realm
confused.
Or something.
Huh? This is why people have a hard time with DC.
Exactly. There's more to it, but
well, why don't you explain some of this other DC stuff? Because the animated stuff I've said for several years. I mean, before we moved from Colorado to California, I was saying that DC animation is head and shoulders better than anything Marvel put out animated. Yeah. Let's talk about some of it.
Well, there's something new that actually came out. We got a voice cast announcement for the Long Halloween. I'll touch on some few important ones here. We have Jensen Ackles as the Batman, who played Red Hood in Under the Red Hood. We have Naya.
Wow, twist! The Red Hood is Batman now.
We have Naya Rivera as Selena Kyle and Catwoman. She sadly passed away, but was able to record all of her.
What? She's passed away before this came out?
Yes. We have Josh Duhamel as Harvey Dent Two-Face.
Josh Duhamel?
Duhamel, yes.
I think isn't that the guy that plays the soldier in the original Transformers movie? It is.
Huh.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, he's gonna do a good Harvey.
A good job.
All right, cool.
Billy Burke as James Gordon, Titus Welliver as Carmine Falcone, David Dastmalchian.
Dastmalchian.
As Calendar Man, Troy Baker as Joker, who is probably the most popular voice actor among this list. Amy Landecker as Barbara Gordon. Julie Nathanson as Gilda Dent, Harvey Dent's wife. Jack Quaid as Alberto.
Who's that?
Falcone.
Oh, okay.
Fred
Tatasciore
as Solomon Grundy.
Interesting.
Alistair Duncan as Alfred. I got a question.
Okay.
Sammy, you've gotten a taste of the DC animated movie universe with Batman versus Robin and then Death and Return of the Superman. What is your favorite part about the DC animated movies?
You know, this is a weird thing to like. I mean, the stories and all of them are great. They do an amazing job with the stories, and there's a lot of interconnectivity with it. But they do something in the animated movies, like with the fight scenes and action scenes, that they just can't do in live action. Mm-hmm. And I think they execute that part of it really well. And they've all got a unique visual style that you can instantly pick out. It's not complicated. It gets the job done, but it's recognizable. And I just think they all around do the animated aspect of the films really well.
Yeah,
I agree. So we're going to be talking about the essentials for people that are newcomers. If you're new into the animated DC universe, these are the 3 movies that I highly recommend to start with. We have the Flashpoint Paradox, which is the start of the animated DC universe, the DC.
So there was a bunch of DC animated films that have come out for years, but then this one sort of set a new timeline or a new series of movies.
A new series, kind of like the MCU, but they still released a few that didn't have to do with it. But the first one is the kind of what it's about is the Flash finds himself in a war-torn alternate timeline and teams up with alternate versions of his fellow heroes to return home and restore the timeline. Dad.
Yeah.
You saw this one.
I did.
One of your first DC animated movies.
Yeah.
What did you like about it? What did you think?
It's got fantastic characters, fantastic character development. You start to sometimes animated stories like this, they can just be, Marvel stuff is sort of, it goes too far into the Marvel campy, the Marvel cheesiness,
right?
That type of stuff. When you look at their animated, the Hulk smash and all that there's too much of that in Marvel's animated stuff. And so I could never get into it. But the Flashpoint felt like a full on, fully scored movie that just happened to be animated. That's the way that the original, the Batman animated series felt. Those were just, shows, obviously 20 minutes, but they felt like deep, dark stories. They had big characters and it felt like you were watching a TV show that just happened to be animated. It feels like that watching it. I really enjoyed the Flashpoint. It's
so amazing how they wrap it up and
I still
all
need
ties
to see
back
this
to this.
thing.
It's so good. Now the second one is might be my favorite on this list. We have Batman Under the Red Hood. There's a mystery afoot in Gotham City, and Batman must go toe-to-toe with a mysterious vigilante who goes by the name of Red Hood. Subsequently, old wounds reopen and old, once buried memories come into light.
Interesting.
Neither of you have seen this movie.
I thought I had.
No. With what you haven't.
Okay.
With what you have seen from all other DC animated movies that you have watched and what you learned about this, would you consider watching this movie?
Yeah, no, I definitely would. I've seen, bits and pieces of it, and I frankly don't remember much or when it was in the movie, but I know the character of Red Hood. I know who it is, and I understand how that ties in. So seeing that fleshed out in this show would be interesting. I've seen a little bit of it in the Arkham Knight game, but it would be interesting to see it in movie format and see how they do things differently. I'd definitely be open to watching this.
I'm curious. So Red Hood, the voice actor, is the one that's voice acting Batman
in The Long Halloween, Part 1 and Part 2.
Explain what The Long Halloween is.
So it's a comic series that came out in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken, maybe early 90s.
Side note, is that considered the golden age of comics?
No.
Oh.
It's like, has some of the best storylines, but it's not considered the golden age.
Okay. Anyway, continue.
It's like Saturday Night Live. When Saturday Night Live originally came out in the 70s, you had Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and Gilda Radner and all Steve Martin and all those guys that were on there. That's the golden age. But then there was a resurgence of like an amazing cast in the mid 80s that had Eddie Murphy and John Lovitz and some of these other guys. And then it happened again sort of in the 90s. So this is anyway.
Continue.
So the storyline of The Long Halloween is that on Halloween, somebody from the Falcon family or a big crime family dies. And it's a whole crime mystery, and Batman's trying to figure out who it is and all this stuff. And there's a murder happening on every holiday leading up to the Halloween a year after the first Halloween. So that's why it's called a Long Halloween. And it brings in Joker and Harvey and all this stuff.
It's more like a detective.
It is a very much.
I like
it's
that.
more of a detective movie than
you've talked about that in context of some of the DC movies that have come out. Which ones is that the Batman or
yes, the Batman is probably going to be taking some influences, specifically because when we saw the wrap-ups photo from the set that Matt Reeves posted, there was a Valentine's Day card next to it, and I think we had we didn't have an Easter card in the trailer, but it was just it's weird how they have a Valentine's Day card there, but
yeah, it's interesting. I'm not opposed to seeing Under the Red Hood. I just we've got 1,000 things that we want to watch, and
not enough time to watch it all.
99% of them are stuff that Mom wouldn't watch with us, so
exactly
we don't watch a lot of it.
So last but certainly not least, we have Justice League Doom. And the Justice League are a team of great power, but also of personal secrets they thought were safe. That changes when the immortal supervillain Vandal Savage has Batman's Batcave secretly raided to learn them all and more. Soon, the Leaguers are individually beset by their enemies who attack them with...
He stole this from some other page.
It was from IMDb.
He would definitely not use the word beset.
No.
I don't even know what that word means.
Who attack them with inescapable death traps specifically designed with that information. With that, all seems lost until an indomitable
Yeah, he can't even say it. There's no way he came up with it.
And a young Titan combined to deliver salvation, even as Savage uses the opportunity to implement a far grander scheme.
Sounds interesting.
Very interesting movie. Here, Dad.
Yeah.
What do you think about Batman having contingency plans and secrets for the Justice League members? And do you think it's an invasion of their privacy or a good backup plan?
Well, this feels a lot like BVS. Where Superman, he knows Superman's weakness and he's going to use it against him. It just seems like that on a grander scale. He's got all that. What's interesting about it is he's in league, literally, with all of these superheroes, and yet still has these contingency plans to take them out. And they're basically their weaknesses. Is that it?
And he even has one for himself, just in case he goes rogue. Oh yeah, he's not like, I'm above them. He's like, if any of us go rogue, I want to make sure that we can take them down in any way.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea that I think is something that I would love to see explored, not just in this film, but I'd love to see it explored in some live action and that type of thing. It's a lot of fun. It's really curious.
I have seen this movie and it was really good. I did enjoy it. I did enjoy seeing each of the Leaguers like taken down by their own weaknesses and seeing what those specific weaknesses were. I remember Wonder Woman's now. But like it was an interesting concept, and I liked how it wasn't just, oh no, the Leaguers are in danger because they've found their weaknesses. No, like that was just the first step in
that's like
his grand
the
plan.
MacGuffin to get things moving forward in the story.
Basically, yeah, that was just like, okay, now that that's happened, the bad guy's like, now I can really implement my evil plan.
Oh, wow.
So I liked that aspect of things.
Yeah,
it wasn't surface level.
It's a very good movie, but we can't just talk about the essentials. There are also some other movies that I had a really hard time not putting on this list. These are the honorable mentions.
All right, quick, let's go. Rapid fire.
We have Justice League: The New Frontier. In the 1950s, a new generation of superheroes must join forces with the community's active veterans and a hostile U.S. government to fight a menace to Earth.
And that's been released, right?
Yes, all of these have.
Okay.
Batman. It is. Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, Part 1 and Part 2.
I've seen Part 2.
Batman has not been seen for 10 years, and a new breed of criminal ravages Gotham City, forcing 55-year-old Bruce Wayne back into the cape and cowl. But does he still have what it takes to fight crime in a new era, and the Gotham authorities want to arrest him? An old foe wants a reunion, and the feds want the Man of Tomorrow to put a stop to him.
Wow, that sounds really good.
It really is.
It is.
But it's bizarre that they call it that, The Dark Knight Returns, because isn't that the name of one of the movies? The films?
What?
The Dark Knight Returns?
Yeah. No, it's Dark Knight Rises.
Oh.
They sound very similar. I get them mixed up in my head all the time.
And then we have Batman Year One. A wealthy playboy and a Chicago cop both return to Gotham City, where their lives will intersect in unexpected
So it's like an origin
ways.
story.
Yes, it's the first year of Batman's career. It's very good as well.
I like the sound of that.
And you guys have seen this one as well. Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah.
So that one in theaters.
This is a classic.
Saw the anniversary, yeah.
Batman is wrongly implicated in a series of murders of mob bosses actually done by a new vigilante assassin.
That was a good one.
With
It was
Mark
very
Hamill's
Joker and Kevin Conroy's Batman and all
these
that
are
stuff.
classic. These are the characters, the actors from the Batman animated series. It's so
I mean,
good.
it's set in that
universe.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was so good.
And there is so much more I could talk about, but there just is not enough time. But you can find all these movies I just mentioned on HBO Max. So just go watch them. They're great.
You got a comprehensive list here.
He's like,
do it.
Just do it.
Just watch every animated movie. I don't actually think that there's a bad one.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Anything else?
Yeah, Evan Peters was seen eating lunch on the set of Doctor Strange 2.
And who's Evan Peters for people who don't know?
Ralph.
And he won't say his last name because it's a family-friendly
PG show.
He played Quicksilver in WandaVision. And, that's the way that we...
Yeah.
That's pretty curious.
And Black Anim finally has a release date of July 29th in 2022.
So we only get Suicide Squad this year,
and animated movies, of course.
And so, and then we get the Batman next March, and then this one's the one after that, I think.
And then after that is Flash, and then Aquaman 2. All the 4 of those are coming out next year.
Ryan Johnson, we like that guy a lot.
Yeah, he's a good director.
He's a great director. We can't wait for him to get the opportunity to produce and film his Star Wars trilogy. But anyway, he signed a $400 million deal with Netflix for Knives Out 2 and 3. So congratulations.
I'm excited for that.
Ryan. Yes. That's a great movie. If you haven't watched Knives Out, you should. So that's awesome. I guess that's going to do it for this week. So thanks, guys, so much for listening to Tatooine Sons, a pop culture podcast.
And if you had a good time listening, and hopefully you did, it would be awesome if you could share this with your friends on everything you can.
And if you didn't have a good time,
still share it with your friends.
Share it with your enemies at that point. So.
That's good. And of course, the show is only a small part of the Tatooine Sons world. So be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter to get in on all the action. And to stay updated on the latest pop culture news, go to TatooineSons.com.
Still in development.
Still working on it, but it's
a lot of content that I'm trying to get up there, and I'm also working a full-time job and trying to be a dad and a husband and get ready to move. So,
we're working on it.
It's happening piece by piece, but don't forget to follow the show on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss our next episode. And if you feel like it, we'd love for you to drop a review on Apple Podcasts like Kason Baca did. That's a great name, by the way.
That is a good one.
Yeah. This was a lot of fun when I saw this review. It says, let me start out saying that this is the best podcast in the galaxy.
Yeah.
It says, me and my mom were going on 2 airplane rides, and my mom decided to download me some podcasts. My mom was looking, and she found this great family-friendly podcast where a dad and his 2 sons talk about Star Wars. I started listening, and I was addicted immediately. The conversations between David, Sam, and Nate are interesting and fun to listen to, and are even better when they're joined by guests. Most of their theories are great, and the rest are purposely funny.
I don't know about purposefully.
Yeah, they even sometimes talk about Marvel and DC movies and shows. I recommend this podcast for any Star Wars fan.
Aww.
That's why we do this show.
Love that.
That was awesome. And I'm pretty confident that Kason Baca's mama actually wrote that for Kason Baca. But I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, tweet us and let us know. It was very well written. So either mama wrote it or you are a very well written child. Okay. Make sure you join us next week where we'll share our reactions to the 4th episode into Act 2 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So is there anything else you guys want to say?
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you always.
This party's over.
I like that Wookiee.
Don't get technical with me.